Hey, this is Ish, and in this video, I'm going to do my best to help you get started in Adobe Premiere Elements by showing you some of the basics that I wish someone would have shared with me when I first started using the software. Please note, I'm not an expert on Adobe Premiere Elements. I just wanted to share what I learned to help other people who want to use the software to make some pretty cool videos. First, there is quick, guided, and expert mode. Quick mode. On Adobe's site, they explain that the quick mode lets you quickly perform the most common editing tasks. Use this mode to add titles, effects, transitions, and background music to your clips. I've not used this mode extensively, but it may be what you need if you're just getting started. Guided mode. The guided mode offers a set of built-in guided edits. Each edit takes you through a series of steps to help perform a task. This guided approach helps you quickly learn Adobe Premiere Elements. I have a couple videos walking through some of the different guided modes, and I'll walk through one in this video. But first, let me tell you about Expert. Expert mode. The expert mode is where I do a majority of my editing. Expert lets you edit your videos using all the tools Premiere Elements has to offer. According to Adobe, it includes more options for effects, transitions, and tools in the quick mode. I like that it allows me to perform advanced editing and create some cool videos. I'll explain more about what expert mode has to offer in a couple minutes. First, let me jump back to guided mode and walk you through one of the guided edits I think will help you get familiar with the software. I'm in guided mode. I'm going to show you the guided edit called Getting Started. If you want to see some of the other guided edits I've done, I'll link it in the top right corner. So far, I've done videos on how to add transitions between clips, and then I've also done fill frame, and then I've also done creating a time-lapse video. So all those will be linked in the top right corner, and in those videos, I provide more information than what is shown in just the guided mode. So going back to Getting Started, select Getting Started. And as you can see, it moved me over from guided to expert. So when you do a guided mode, it's going to show you in expert mode how to do the assigned task. The guided edit will walk you through the video editing clip to give you an overview of how to work with Premiere Elements. Click next to begin. As you can see, it's giving me prompts, arrows on what to do next. So right now it says click add media to add a video clip. Now it's telling me to click any media source to import your video. I'm just going to go to Files and Folders. So now it's telling me the clip you added is stored in the Project Assets bin. Drag and drop the clip to the Video 1 track on the timeline. So I'm going to take the clip and I'm going to drag it down. And this right here is the Video 1 track. So it says, when viewing your video, these controls are used to toggle between playing and pausing your video. You can also fast forward or rewind the video. So again, it's telling me, giving me the prompt and telling me this is where I can basically press play to pause or toggle. This is the step forward, the step back. This is the fast forward. And then this is to go to the next point or page down. So I'm going to click next. This right here, it says the film strip view below the video is called the timeline. The red line with the blue triangle on the top is called the playhead. Move the playhead left or right to preview different parts of your video. Zooming the timeline. You can condense or expand the view on the timeline below to show more or less frames from your video. Move the slider left to condense the view or to the right to expand it. So it's referring to this slider here. So as you can see, you can move it left or right to condense or expand the timeline. And if you select this button here, you can just fit the visible timeline into the window. It says you can trim off the beginning or end of your video clip if you desire. So if I want to do this video shorter or trim it down, as you can see, the mouse has changed. So it went from being a regular mouse pointer and now it's changed. This allows me to trim. So it says, just to kind of walk through the complete steps, click on the video clip to select it. Click on the right edge of your video clip and drag it to the left to remove the end of your clip. Try the same thing on the beginning of the clip. You can see that preview of the clip in the timeline has changed to reflect trimming you have done. So let's trim this down a little bit. So see, as I'm dragging it, it's trimming the video. So I can see I want to stop it there. So that's how you trim a clip. So next it says you can split a video clip to make two separate clips. Move the playhead to the place in the timeline where you want the video clip to split and click on the scissors icon that is attached to the playhead. Your video will be split into two separate video clips that can be adjusted independently. So I can move it right here. I'm going to click this. Now you can see the clip is set into two different pieces. A transition is a way of gradually changing from one video clip to another to join them together into a movie. You can add transitions by first clicking on the transition on the action bar. So as you can see, again, it's giving me a prompt in the guided effort mode of telling me where the transitions are. So I'm going to click this. It says the transition panel shows all of the transition options available. Drag and drop the desired transition between two clips to create the effect. When you are done, you will see the transition adjustment panel open. If you want to see another video that I explain how to walk through all the transitions, again, I already linked that in the top right corner. But I'm going to click this transition cube spin. I'm going to drag it to the timeline. So as you can see, the transition adjustment panel allows you to fine tune the transition, set the duration and alignment, and then click done. To access these settings later, double click the icon of any transition in the timeline. This right here is the transition adjustment that it's referring to. It gives you the option to select the duration, and then there's also more, which gives you other options if you want to change, if you want it just applied to the left clips, between clips, on the right, the start and end points, whether you want to reverse it. Also gives you the options to select which side you want it to go, west or east, if you want it to go downwards. So it gives you a lot of options. Right now I'll click just keep everything the way it is, and I'll click apply. It says now that you've completed editing and created your movie, you can export it quickly and share it with your friends or family. Click on the export and share in the top right corner. So again, this is export and share. It's telling me where it's at. I'm going to click on it. As you can see, this window has opened up for export and share. It says you can now quickly export this movie as a video file to your computer. Click on save at the bottom right of the export and share window. To customize your output format, resolution, quality, please select one of the destination tabs from the export and share window. So it's talking about these tabs right here. There's devices, disk, online, audio, image. So those are the different options. So you can just go in here and say, you know, my project, and then hit save, and then allow you to export it. And see, as you can say, your movie is being saved. Click done. It's just a quick walkthrough of the guided mode. The reason why I like it, because if you're just new, you're just starting out, you get into the guided mode. In that quick little guided edit, it showed you how to import a clip to the timeline, to the track. It told you how to split the clip, how to add a transition, how to export and share. So going back to the guided edits, again, you got trimming between clips, how to add and animate titles, how to fix dull videos. They got different video adjustments to animate graphics, audio adjustments, fun edit. So there's a lot of different things in here that if you're just getting started, you want something and be able to use your own files and to do an edit, I think this is a great feature. And again, of course, they also have some fun ones like create the slow motion, create a bounce effect. If you need any help going through the guided edits, like I said, I've already gone through some, and then I'm going to try to go through my channel to go through as many of these as possible, just to help people out if you want more information than just what the guided edit has. But going back into expert mode, all right, let me walk you through expert mode and what is available to you. So right here, I'm going to go back to project assets. So the cool thing about project assets is it lets you see this view here. But if you wanted to get more detail and more information, then you can click this drop down here, select view, and then go to list view. So I'm going to open this up wider just so you can see everything that's in here. So the cool thing about the list view is that it's going to give you the name. It's going to tell you the creation date if it has one for this video. It doesn't have a creation date, but then it will also tell you if the video is being used already on the timeline. So since I dragged it earlier, it's going to say use, what the media type is. So say, for example, if I had a picture in here, it would say image. It's going to give you your frame rate, and I'll go into frame rate a little bit more in a couple minutes. Then it's also going to tell you the media duration, and then tell you the video usage and audio usage. So this is if you just want that more detailed to be able to see your clips, and then it'll list them all out. This is another view that you can use. Of course, you have file, edit. And then in the edit, you also, if you want to know the shortcuts, Control Z to undo. There's Control A to select all. And then they also give you the keyboard customization down here. But Adobe Premiere Elements doesn't give you that many options to do customizations, but it's there if you need it. Then you also have project settings, which I'll also kind of get into a little bit more later. Then you have clip, timeline, ability to add text from here. There's tools, and then there's windows. One thing that they do have is if you have two monitors like I do, they have the dual monitor workspace. I won't change it here because I'm only recording on one screen, but with the dual monitor workspace, what it allows you to do will take the timeline and allow you to drag it to another screen, while this will be, the monitor will be your main screen. So it's something that if you have two screens and you want a larger workspace, it gives you that ability. The other area to show is just on the side over here. On the top, you have adjustments. So I'm going to select this clip. So adjustments gives you different options from smart fix, shake reduction. There's auto smart tone if you want to adjust the color, the lighting, the temperature, the tint. All of that is available right here in the adjustment section. So here they have keyframes. That in itself have to be a total separate video on how keyframes work, but that's another tool. Then if you slide down, there's tools, there's video tools. So the ability to pan and zoom, freeze frame, that if you want to be able to basically take a snapshot of what's currently in your workspace over here and then just save it in a video. So just like freeze the frame right there. There's smart trim, time mapping, motion tracking. And then if you're doing like a DVD or a movie, that's the movie menu. Then there's also audio. There's an audio mixer, narration. So that's the allow you to put the narration on the voice track if you want to record directly in Adobe Premiere Elements. Then there's also Smart Mix. Next, there's the applied effects. So you have motion, and motion allows you to change the position, the scale, the rotation of your video or image. Opacity allows you to change the transparency of your video. So as you can see, you can change how transparent or not if you want the video to fade in or fade out. The blend mode, all of that is available right in there. Next would be effects. So effects is a different effects you can apply to your video. So there's a bunch of different effects already available in Adobe Premiere Elements. So for example, I'll just drag one over. And as you can see, the black and white effect has been applied. And when you apply that effect, so if you ever want to come in and see what effects have been applied to a clip, you just go in here, you select a clip, and then it'll show you underneath motion opacity what effects have been applied to that clip. So this one has been black and white. If I click this clip, there's no effects there. So it's telling me there's no effects on that clip. But going back to this one, boom, you can see that it's black and white. So with transitions, like I said before, I've done a whole video on transitions and we just walked through it. So I won't go into any more detail with transitions, but they're all in here. Next is title. So again, Adobe Premiere Elements has a bunch of different titles. And the thing is, just because you see the titles like this, most of them are all pretty customizable with the different titles that are available. If you can, I'll go to my frequently used, this one, the default text. You can go in there and you can change the text, how you want it to look, the size. Again, that would have to be something to explore, and there's a guide to edit. And in the future, I probably will do a video that explains more just on titles in itself and how you can adjust and make different titles for your videos. All right, so this is music score right here. So in music score, they have different audio available to use in your video. And the cool thing about the music score, they have it broken down into different categories already. If you just want to go scroll through, you can go through show all. And then they also have sound effects. And again, they have them broken down into science fiction, weather, technology, transportation. So I'll click weather. So they have rain, they have snow impact, they have snow moving. So those are all different sound effects that you can use. And the last one on the right that I want to show is just graphics. So they have different graphics available. And again, they have them broken down into different categories. So you have, for example, video overlays, which is overlays that you can put on top of your video. They have costumes, they have video backgrounds. So there's different, even music items if you want to use them. So different graphics that you can just, sports and hobbies that you can just use to put in your videos. If you are just getting started in expert mode, the first thing you want to do is obtain the frame size and frame rate information from a sample video clip. Use a sample clip from the majority of the footage you plan to use. For example, if you use your cell phone to shoot your friend's birthday, then use that as a sample. Or if you use a DSLR to shoot a family member's wedding, you want that sample clip. Whatever footage you shot, you want to get the frame size and frame rate information from that clip. You do that by first importing the file and then dragging the file to your timeline. So I've already imported a couple of files. So this one, I'm going to take it and then I'm going to drag it to the timeline. Another way, I'm going to click delete. Another way you can add it to your timeline if you don't want to drag it is look at the playhead here. I'm going to put the playhead right here. Then I'm going to right click on the clip that I want to insert. Then I'm going to select insert to timeline. So if you notice, it inserted the clip right there, and then the playhead moved to the end of the clip. So what I'm going to do now is just click delete and close gap, and then it's going to fit right into the window. Right click on the video clip with your mouse and choose show properties. Adobe will tell you the properties of the clip, and for me that's 1920 by 1080 and the frame rate size is 24.92. Remember what the frame rate and dimensions are for your own clip. If you need to write it down, then do so. If you have to pause the video, do that as well, but make sure you have your frame rate size because you'll need that information next. So with that information, hopefully you wrote it down. So choose File, New, Project. So you can name the project whatever you want to name it. I'm just going to say this is getting started, and then you can go and save the file project in the location that works best for you. All my files are stored in this location, so I'm just going to keep it like that. Then you have your project settings. So what you want to do is you want to click and select change settings. This step is important because Adobe Premiere Elements applies a project preset to it when you start a new project. A project preset is a collection of pre-configured project settings. Adobe Premiere Elements includes default project presets for media from common sources like cameras, DVDs, some people still use them, and mobile phones. Who doesn't use those? You can select from a list of available presets. However, you cannot create custom presets. The presets for any project can only be selected at the time of creating the project. That's why this is important. You cannot change the preset for a project after it has been created. Because you can't change the project preset after starting the project, it's important to verify your source footage format before selecting a project preset, which is what we've done. Make sure you choose the correct frame size and frame rate project preset for the video clips you will be working with. So as you can see in here, there are two different default presets. The first is NTSC, which stands for the National Television Standards Committee. This is the television standards for the Americas, the Caribbean, Japan, South Korea, and the Taiwan region. PAL, which is the phase alternating line, is the standard format for Europe, Russia, Africa, the Middle East, India, Australia, New Zealand, South Pacific, China, and other parts of Asia. So I recommend going into your camera settings before you shoot and ensuring that your dimensions and frame rate and frame size match one of the standard sizes in Adobe Premiere Elements. I'm going to go into NTSC. I'm going to go into DSLR 1080p. And as you can see, there's DSLR 1080p 24. So 1920 by 1080v. And then the frame rate size is 23.976. But my frame rate size that I had, if you remember, was 24.92. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into PAL, even though I'm in the Americas. Then I'm going to go into DSLR 1080p, and I'm actually going to select 25 because this actually closely matches the video. Even though I have 24.92, 25 is close. So don't worry if you select DSLR and if you're using your mobile phone. What is essential is that your frame rate and dimension size matches the clips you are working with. The reason why I picked that last video clip as the example I used because it doesn't match up to NTSC. It matches up to PAL, and then it doesn't match up directly to the frame rate. So I didn't want to show you an exact perfect example. So that's why I said to make sure that everything lines up, it's best that you go into your camera settings, your cell phone, your DSLR, make sure you look and make sure it matches. Now that you know NTSC PAL in my cell phone, they had that setting and I just always used it. But when I came into Adobe Premiere Elements, that's when I noticed, okay, it's not the standard one. for US. So that's where I would go and use 24 or 30 frames. And there's a lot of different thoughts when it comes to which frame rate to shoot in and which frame rate to use. I won't get into that one into this video. The main thing is that you want to make sure that the frame rate you shoot in matches your project settings and the frame rate is the same rate that you export in. So now that I have this one selected for my video click, I'm going to select OK. I'm going to come back to the message box and then I'm going to select for selected project settings on this project. And then I'm going to click OK. So quickly, let me show you what happens if you don't select for selected project settings on this project. First, I'm going to select edit project settings and then I'm going to go to general. So as you can see, it says DSLR 25 frames per second. That's what we selected. Everything matches. So now I'm going to drag a video clip into this timeline. So I imported the file back in here to the new timeline. I'm going to drag the file to the timeline. I'm going to go to edit project settings. Then I'm going to go to general. And again, everything matches up. Let me go and create a new project again. So that way you can really see what the difference is. So I'm going to select a new project. I'm going to call it Getting Started 2. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the project settings. Now I'm going to go back to NTSC. Let me go to DSLR. Let me go to 1080p. I'm going to select 30 frames per second, for example. I'm going to not select for selected project settings on this project. I'm just going to select OK. I've got a new project open. I'm going to go to edit. I'm going to go to general settings, general. All right. It says DSLR 30 frames per second. I'm going to select OK. So I dragged the new file already back into the project. I'm going to go to edit. I'm going to go to project settings. I'm going to go to general and look what happened. So now remember before it said DSLR 30 frames per second I had picked. Look at what Adobe Premiere Elements did. Because I didn't have for selected project, it automatically changed it to 25 frames per second. So what happened is Adobe Premiere Elements will change the project settings if you don't select for selected project settings on this project to match the file that you drag onto the timeline. Those project settings will be locked in. As you can see, they're grayed out for the entire project. Remember, you can't change it after you start. If this is the only clip that I use that is like this and all the other clips are at a different frame rate or frame size, then there is a mismatch. If you're curious about what happens if you have mixed frame rates or frame sizes on your timeline, I recommend searching on YouTube or Google about both topics. There are some great resources out there that do a good job explaining it, and in the future I'm going to make a video that demonstrates both in details. At this point, I don't want to make the video too long, and if you're just getting started, I don't want to confuse you either. I can give you a good rule of thumb to remember, which I did state it earlier. If you're just starting out, be consistent throughout your workflow. Understand what frame rate and frame size you're shooting at. Make sure your timeline is set to that frame rate and frame size. Lastly, export your video at that frame rate and frame size. Don't worry, I'll show you how to export at the end of this video. Just starting out, remember that rule of thumb. The frame rate and frame size should match up throughout your workflow. I experienced a lot of issues early on because I didn't quite grasp that concept. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in another file that's at a different size. So I have two clips. Remember what the project settings were. They match this current clip. I'll show the properties again. 1920, 24.92. And if you look, this one is 2224 by 1080. So this clip is actually wider than the other clip. And what you can see is Adobe Premiere Elements has brought it in though, so it fits into the frame size, but it added these black bars because since it's wider, it has to add those black bars into this clip. This one has black bars, but this is because this is the way the video was naturally shot. I actually shot this video using a Samsung app that allows you to shoot with the front and back camera, so it put both frames next to each other. But in this clip, this is the actual size of it. So what you want to do is if you don't want those black bars, which most people don't want, is you click and you go to clip, scale to frame size. So as you can see, what Adobe did was it adjusted. It's saying, hey, you know, this clip is not the exact dimensions of the frame size. So what it's going to do is it's going to get rid of those black bars on the side. And to show you kind of more detail, basically what it did, if I go into motion, is if you look here, is that you can see the border. This is the full size of the video. You can see it's wider than what the actual frame size is. So what it's actually doing is it's clipping off these edges. But say, for example, I want this to be more in center. I can actually move this video over because there's space here. There's this actual space that is cutting off. So if you have an image, you can adjust it. When you click skip, that's wider, you can adjust it more to the left or right. But if you don't ever plan to go in and adjust it, best thing to do is to make sure that when you shoot this video, for example, shoot it at the 1920 by 1080 frame size and just have it naturally fit that way. That way you don't have to go in each time you bring it into Adobe Premiere Elements and adjust the clip size. And again, this one, like I said, it's shot at that frame rate and frame size. So if I go to clip and I go to scale to frame size, nothing's going to happen because it's already at that right size and right portion. So another thing that I've noticed, and I actually created a video, and at the time I didn't fully understand what was going on. So, and that's the use of shake reduction. So if you go to shake reduction, I'm going to select shake reduction. I'm going to click quick. So as you can see, shake reduction comes up. It says shake reduction in process. I'm going to select cancel. And I'm going to select delete because I don't need shake reduction. Go to this clip. What I'm going to do is I'm going to select shake reduction. I'm going to say quick. And then what you're going to do, let me scale it back down, is I'm going to get this error. And it's going to say shake reduction requires clip dimensions to match project settings. Create a new project. So what Adobe Premiere Elements is basically telling me is that 2224 by 1080, they don't match the project settings because the project is a 1920 by 1080 project. So I cannot apply shake reduction to this video clip. So one of my most watched videos is how to resolve this issue, and I'll link it in the top right corner. This video clip, like I said, does not match the project settings. What you do is I'm going to go into shake reduction. I'm going to click delete, and this is a good way to segue into my next section that'll help you to understand this. I'm going to click scale to frame size. So now it's there. I want to export just this clip. I'm going to go to export and share. And then what you see here is 1920 by 1080. So I'm going to select high. Again, the video that I brought in, the main video was 1920 by 1080. And then what was the frame rate? The frame rate was 25. So that is automatically what Adobe is going to give me as the settings. And then there's 1080, 1440 by 1080, 1280. Then there's even going all the way down to 720 and as high as 4K ultra high definition that you have the ability. But even as I change the size, you can see the frame rate is going to still stay the same as the project setting. That's why, again, going back to that rule of thumb, you want to select the proper frame rate and frame size that you want to shoot at. You want to edit and the frame rate and frame size that you shoot at, and then you want to export as a general rule of thumb. And like I said, if you want to deal with multiple cameras, multiple frame rates, for slow motion or other stuff, there's some good videos and information that tell you about that. But if you're just getting started basic, you're using one camera, you want to lock your settings in 1080p. I usually do quality high, but again, I just want to export this one portion of the video. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to select cancel, and I'm going to adjust this bar. So I'm going to adjust it to just that one individual setting. I'm going to go to export and share. So now I'm back here. I'm going to select share work area bar only. So watch the size drop down because I'm just selecting that one area of the video, the video that's 22 by 24 by 1080. So I'm going to save that video. I brought the file back in. So if you look, this was the original file. I'm going to go back to show properties. What's dimensions? 22 by 24 by 1080. Frame rate was 29.97. But then what did I export it at? I exported it out as the current project setting. So let me go back to show properties. What is it now? It's 1920 by 1080 and it's 25. So I've changed the properties of the video and now they match the project settings. So guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to go into shake reduction. I'm going to say quick, and now shake reduction is in process. But remember, again, with this clip, when I went there, I went to shake reduction. What did it give me? Shake reduction requires clip dimensions to match project settings. Create a new project. So my advice is don't create a new project, because again, for this particular clip, those dimensions, the 22 by 24, those are not one of the standard dimensions. That's because my cell phone screen is wider, so it allows the ability to take wider videos. But for editing purposes, if you just wanted to shoot on my phone, say send it to social media, that'll work. But for editing purposes and using Adobe Premiere Elements, I want to use Windows standard format. So now when I shoot, I make sure that I'm shooting at 1920 by 1080. Then generally I do it by 30 frames per second on my phone. And I know when I bring it in, I don't have to worry about scaling it to frame. If I want to apply shake reduction, I can apply shake reduction because they all match my project settings. Everything matches from beginning to end there. So that is just getting started. Hopefully I didn't confuse you. I recommend definitely check out some videos on multiple frame rates, checking out on a timeline how to use multiple resolutions on a timeline, just so if you want to kind of get deeper into understanding that. But definitely just want to make sure I drive that point home. If you're just getting started, if you're just getting editing, go look at your camera, whichever camera you're using, your cell phone, go into the settings, check, figure out what settings you want to shoot. If that's in 1920 by 1080, if that's in 4K, check those settings. Then make sure you go into Adobe Premiere Elements, make sure you can find the applicable settings that match those settings. And then when you export your video, make sure you export your video. That way your video comes out the quality, the way that you're looking for. So if you're new to my channel, though, I know I haven't introduced myself. My name is Ish. My channel is focused on travel, experiences, and fun. One of the experiences I share on my channel is my experience editing and creating videos for YouTube. I specifically use this software, Adobe Premiere Elements, for all of my video editing. And as I've been using it and I've been running into different issues, problems, and learning cool things that I wanted to do, I've been sharing them on YouTube just to be able to help other people and help someone that's just like me, that's trying to create video content for YouTube or try to create video content for church, family, friends, just vacations. If you want to learn the basics and some cool tricks, I recommend you hit the subscribe button and you click the bell so you never miss a video. If there's something that you think I can improve on in the comments, let me know. Or if there's something else that you want to learn, let me know as well. So I recommend you hit the subscribe button and click the bell so you never miss a new video. My name is Ish and I challenge you to go out there and have a new experience today.